What's up, everyone? Oh, we're gonna have fun today. This is my new whiteboard here. This is gonna be a kind of old school whiteboard with I have my keyboard hooked up to, right? So we can actually look at notes for those of you that can tell what the notes are on a piano. And if you can't, that's okay. Just listen, because I'll be writing the stuff down. This is all going to be part of my, this is like a masterclass, basically. So this is part of my three main music theory and ear training courses that I have. My Beato Book Interactive video course, my ear training course, and my music theory for songwriters. They all focus on different things, but there's a lot of overlap between them. I call this my Music Theory and Ear Training Master Collection. These three things that are available for $79 total for the three things. That can't be right. $79? That's okay. That's way too cheap, but I'm just kidding. It's actually a great price. So this bundle has my Music Theory for Songwriters. We'll talk about that. What that is in this. That's these are all video courses. Okay. My Beato Book Interactive, which has all these different videos that are lectures, different types of lectures, dozens of video lectures. It's a 500-page textbook that's in there. And then my ear training program, which has 80 video lessons and hundreds of interactive training modules, along with a PDF that comes along with it too, all for $79. Okay. So the things that are in them, in this collection of three that are available until March 28th, so this coming Friday, so you got about 5 days or so. I'm going to talk about things that, basics of music theory. I was talking to Dylan and one of his friends that was here. We were talking about music theory and the idea of what common knowledge is and actually how do you attain this knowledge? Like, how do you actually understand music theory? A lot of this stuff I had taught Dylan when he was a little kid. And but it's done through, it can only be learned through memorization and practice, pretty much like anything. Instruments don't play themselves. You have to learn how to play them, okay? And that's done through actually memorization, drilling, practice, playing with a metronome, all these different things. Okay, but we're going to start with just a basic C major scale here. And I've numbered each note of the scale 1 through 7. Okay, this is all the white notes. So this is a C major scale here, right? So we're going to talk about building chords to start with. We're going to start with a simple C major chord. We're going to talk about major chords, minor chords, diminished, and augmented to start. These are actual triads. And why do I start there? To me, knowing basic triad formulas is extremely important because at first you know what you learn what they sound like and you learn how they're constructed. But we're not going to do it in a sophisticated theory way, kind of how I will explain it in my Beato book. This is going to be more where I'm going to do it in a simpler fashion here. Okay, so if I take the first, third, and fifth notes of a C major scale, that is a C major chord. When you hear the third of a chord, okay, you're talking about the middle note, and the fifth of the chord is the fifth note. That's the fifth note of the scale and the third note of the scale. This is a C major scale. It's a C major chord. Okay, so a C major chord is C, E, G. Now, I go 1, 3, 5, or root, third, fifth. Okay? Now, I always tell people that it doesn't matter what the order of notes are. It's always a C major chord. Okay? So I'll show you here. Okay. That's a C major chord. C, E, G. Well, that's a C major chord, right? But it's E, G, C. That's actually a first inversion chord because this note E is the lowest note in the chord, and then you have a second inversion chord. So you get G, C, E. But we could really have those notes spread out anyway. I could go, that would be a C spread triad. I've just made a video about spread triads recently. So I have the root, the fifth, and the third up there. Okay? So any order of C, E, G is a C major chord. Okay? So if you know this formula, then you know what a C major chord is. Now, I'm going to relate everything to the major scale. I'm going to show you what you do to the C major chord to make it a C minor chord. Okay, so C minor chord is going to be the note C, E flat, G. Okay, so what did I do? I moved the middle note down a half step. That's the third of the chords. This is the flat third and the fifth. This is 1 flat 3 5 is the formula for a C minor chord. Okay? So you can say if you take a C major chord and you move the middle note down a half step to E flat, that's a C minor chord. So major, minor. Now, if you have C, E flat, G in any order, C, G, E flat, it could be this, E flat, G, C. It could be G, C, E flat. Any of those three notes put together in any combination, in any order, is a C minor chord. Okay, the next thing is a C augmented chord. You're going to be like, well, why even talk about augmented chords? Do people even use augmented chords? Well, yeah, people do use augmented chords. Typically, people like the Beatles and music up through the late 70s or so had augmented chords in them. But you get augmented chords when you have lady who's sure. There's your augmented chord. All that glitters is gold. She's buying a stairway to heaven. There's your augmented chord, that second chord. A minor, G sharp diminished, although there's still an A in the bass. We don't have to talk about that, although it goes to, has the B in there too. Not important, but that's an augmented chord in that song. Okay, so what do you do to a major chord to make it augmented? You take the fifth and you raise it by a half step. So G becomes G sharp. So it's 1, 3, sharp 5. And we call these the formulas for the chords. So these are the formulas for these particular chords. And then the other chord is C diminished. That circle means diminished. And C diminished is C, E flat, G flat. Okay, so what have I done here? If you take a C major chord, you got 1, this is flat 3, flat 5. That is the formula for a C diminished chord. So let's talk about C augmented and diminished. Okay, so C augmented, you take a C major chord, and if I raise that note there, it's like, baby, hold on to me. Da, 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 whatever will be, will be. That's where you hear augmented chords as well. So I took the fifth of the chord, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth of the chord and move it up half step to make it a sharp 5. That's C augmented. A diminished chord is 1, flat 3, flat 5. Okay, so if I take a major chord, lower the fifth, and lower the third, and you get a diminished chord. Or you can take a C minor chord and lower the fifth down a half step, and you get C diminished. Okay? There's two other common chord types. Well, there's a few other common chord types that you have. And they're very common in pop music, okay? And I'm going to talk about them right now, and I'll tell you why. I'll explain why. There's a C sus4. Okay. C sus4. You take the middle note and you change it from E up to F, to the fourth note of the scale. So instead of 1, 3, 5, we have 1, 4, 5. Okay. That's a C sus chord. So you go. Usually that sus4 resolves down to the third, okay? All right, and you have that in many songs. Stairway to Heaven, I mean, it's in every rock song. More Than a Feeling, Stairway to Heaven. It's in contemporary songs all over the place. sus4 chords are very, very common. sus2, so C sus2. The formula for that is 1, 2, 5. So that's a C sus2. So it's the first note of the scale. Let me write the scale down so you have it here. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So when I say 1, 2, 5, C, D, G. Okay? That's a C sus2. C suspended 2. Okay. Sleep That Burns. This is gold. Rick, is platinum or diamond, whichever's better. I think diamond's better than platinum, Sleep, but I like it. All this stuff is in my bundle that's on sale till next Friday, the 28th, for $79. You get my ear training course. We're doing ear training now and theory. My my Beato Book Interactive, which is music theory, and my music theory for songwriters, that is an additional theory course that has things that songwriters, it's focusing more on what people would use in pop music. Okay, C sus2. So we take C major, and I take the middle note and move it down. So it's 1, 2, 5. You think of the notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Those 5 notes of the scale. So I use the first note, second note, fifth note. That's C sus2. C sus2 regularly goes up to C. You hear James Taylor play that stuff all the time. It's in a million songs. sus2. Well, if I take these things and play them in any order, they're always going to be the same thing. So a C sus4 chord, if I go C, F, G, or F, C, F, G, C, well, you're like, well, that's actually an F sus2, but it's still the same notes. These are inversions of the same chord. Okay, so those are inversions of a C sus4. C sus4 and F sus2 are the same notes, right? And then this is the second inversion of the sus4. Okay, now there's one other thing that I like to talk about too. It's a Lydian triad. That's a 1 sharp 4 5 1. That'd be like C, F sharp, G. I wrote it with the thing on the top. That's your Lydian, your sharp 4. And that goes like this. So you have C major, you have C sus4, and you have C Lydian, which is 1 sharp 4 5. You'd be like, well, why do I need to know that? Did you ever hear the thing, or this? 6 feet under? Anybody remember that? That's an E flat Lydian chord there. E flat Lydian triad. I know that you know those. I know you know that sound. Okay, so why do I teach these things? Because if you take the chords in C major, because there's a series of chords in the C major scale that is built on each scale degree. Okay? And I'm going to show you what they are. Okay, this is all the chords in C major. See how fast I wrote them out there? C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished. Rick, I'm sold. How do I get the programs? Go to rickbeato.com, Francis, and you can find it there. You can find my courses. $79 for the 3 courses. Thank you for asking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why do I write these things out? Why have I done this for years on my channel? They're all refreshers. You can take screenshots of here, or you can buy the courses. They have these things in them. Okay? These are each of the scale degrees. These are the triads of C major. And triad, they have 3 notes. Triads of C major. Okay? Triads of C major. So, to see them here, you have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then you're back up to C major. Okay, those are the chords of C major. And in a major key, doesn't matter what key you're in, they always follow the same pattern. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. It's always like that. Doesn't matter what key you're in. Any major key follows that same pattern. So the 1, 4, and 5 are major chords. The chords built on the 1st, 4th, and 5th note of the scale, right? Think of the scale. The 1st note of the scale, the 4th note, and 5th note of the scale. Those are the major chords in a major key. So the chords built on the 2nd scale degree, the uppercase Roman numerals, that's what they look like, and 6th scale degree are minor. And then the chord built on the 7th scale degree has this little circle which equals diminished. That's your formula there. I had that in my first guitar lesson, believe it or not. My teacher, Tom Rizzo, showed me this. 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, 7 is diminished. Did I learn it then? No, I had to memorize it. I spent, actually, no, I did learn it then. And you're learning it right now. All 1,500 of you that are on here, okay? This is the pattern that all major keys follow, all right? But I'm going to take it a step further here. Because the way I like to do it, I like to take this key of C major, and not only do I like to go with the chords, but I like to go on the C. I like to go C, C sus4, C sus2 to C. Okay, I like to do the different the suspensions related to it. I like to go D minor, D sus4, D sus2 to D minor, then E minor, E sus4. Oh, what is that? That's kind of a different chord. I call that a Phrygian triad. We'll get to that in a minute. F major, F Lydian triad. Remember the Lydian triad? 1 sharp 4, 5, F sus2, back to F major, G major, G sus4, G sus2, A minor, A sus4, A sus2, A minor, B diminished. We won't talk about these yet, although I have these in my Beato book. I go over these. I call this a sus4 flat 5. And I call this like a Locrian triad, but this is not really important. This gets a little sophisticated for today, but we'll come back to this. It's in my Beato Book Interactive. I use it right at the beginning here. Okay, so what we'll do now, though, is we'll just do the suspended, the fourths. So C, we'll go C, then C sus4, C sus2. Those are the two suspended chords. And you got D, D sus4, D sus2. I'm not going to go through these because I want to get to other stuff, okay? But these are really important. These are important because I want you to be able to recognize these things when you hear them. So let's see, there's a question here. Do I need to learn sheet music to play piano? Playing guitar, I never learned theory. It depends. You can learn to play the piano without any sheet music. You just learn by ear. That's the whole beauty of this thing, right? Is that if you train your ear, you can figure out how to play things with without learning to read music. Reading music is not a prerequisite for learning how to play music. Reading music is helpful when you want to communicate something to someone else. Okay, if you want to write an arrangement and put it in front of a 3-horn group or something like that, or you're working with people that can read music. It's really handy to be able to do it. Or you want to write if you want to be John Williams, you got to know how to read music to be able to write music. Okay, but you don't have to be able to write music. You can actually just write it and teach it to people. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the next thing. Oh, if you have sound issues, Aaron said to refresh There's some people having sound issues. Just refresh your browser right now. I'll give you 1 second. So one of the goals is to be able to recognize these. One of the goals is to be able to recognize these particular chords by ear when you hear them. What does a major chord sound like? What does a minor chord sound like? What does a sus4 chord sound like? What does a diminished chord sound like? What's an augmented chord? How do you even tell these things? Well, you tell them by the sound of them and by drilling them. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is like teach people the difference between major and minor. Okay, so if I take I'll do an F major chord. Okay, that's a major chord. If I go like this, that's F minor. F major, ba ba ba, ba ba ba. Okay, so that minor chord has that darkness to it. Bright. Major has a brightness to it. Minor has a darkness to it. So major, minor, minor, major, minor, major, minor, major. Okay? Your ability to tell the difference between major and minor is actually very important because it will allow you to figure out songs without using tutorials, things like that. Now there are many other types of chords to be able to recognize, and what you're trying to do is you want to build a vocabulary of recognized sounds. Vocabulary of recognized. Oh man, I can't write here. Sounds. That hurts. It hurts to write. I'm so not used to writing. You want to develop a vocabulary of recognized sounds. Okay. So if I hear a chord like this, I know that's an augmented chord. I just know from the sound of it because I hear ba 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 ba. I sang ba 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 F major ba 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 with a sharp 5 there. Okay, so that's when I hear that, I can hear those 3 notes being played like that, right? I can hear them even if I'm just striking the chord what we call harmonically. Harmonically means think of like a harmony all at once. If I play the chord melodically, that's an F major chord. That's played melodically. That's played melodically. Or if I go, that's played harmonically as a harmony. So you have to be able to figure things out when it's played as a chord, okay? And in order to do that, you got to be able to recognize these, the pitches that are being played. You got to train yourself to be able to pick out the notes in the chord by singing them. When I hear this chord, I know it's a major chord. It doesn't matter what the order of the chord is. If I hear a chord like this, I'll play it up here. Well, I'm like, oh, that's an Aeolian chord. And you're like, what? What is that? That's a chord that's from the F Aeolian mode, or F minor. Oh, that's beautiful. Right? So that's a really, really dense chord. When I hear that, though, I can sing those notes that I'm hearing there. I don't have perfect pitch, but I've developed my ear to where I can single out those notes. And how do you do that? You do it by practice. You do this by practice. You gradually train your ear. You start with bum bum. You just take 2 notes. It doesn't matter that you can see those notes on the screen. That doesn't help you. Ba ba. It doesn't help you sing it, right? You have to actually just bum bum. You have to just pick those notes out, right? If I sing da, 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 da. What I did there is actually one of the exercises in my Beato Ear Training course, which I call Complete the Chord, okay? So this idea of completing the chord, you take the outer notes, the shell of a chord, and if I sing ba, I know that that note is going to be that sus4 note. Okay, so when I play this shell, bum bum, I can hear those notes, and I know bum 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 bum. Right? I can hear those notes. I started an F major scale. I filled in bum, 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 bum. That's an F major scale. The beginning of it, the first 5 notes. I could go ba, 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 the beginning of an F minor scale. Major, minor. That third note is flatted in minor. You hear that? It sounds cool like that. That is beautiful. Oops, sorry. Like that. I got my paper in the way here. That's beautiful, right? So being able to pick those notes out. If I go da, once I have one note that I've figured out, I use relative relationships of whatever note that I've heard as the note that I'm my tonic, if you will. All right, ba. I hear that note F, and I did da. I sang that note. Once I knew F, I knew what the sharp 4 is. I know what the sus4 is. I know what the 5th is. I know what the 6th is above that. So I start to know what each note is because it's relative to the first note, right? Or it's relative to the note I just heard before that. That's what is called relative pitch. It's different than perfect pitch. Relative pitch is something that you want to develop even if you have perfect pitch. You want to learn to hear the relative relationships from one note to the next. This is how you figure out chord progressions. This is how you figure out melodies to play along with something, right? This is how you sound out a guitar solo as you're improvising. You got to know these things. You got to be able to hear the relationship of the note that you have. If I sing ba, if I sing da, 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 flat 6, major 6, flat 7, major 7th, to octave. Okay, so those are all the intervals in an octave. Minor 2nd, major 2nd, minor 3rd, major 3rd, perfect 4th, sharp 4, 5th, flat 6, 6, major 6, flat 7, major 7, perfect octave or octave. Okay? being able to do that, I have things in my ear training course that will train you to be able to hear these notes relative, one note relative to the next. If you go to rickbeato.com, click on another, open up another window, and you can go there, but don't leave the lesson yet because we're still doing stuff here. Okay, so this relative pitch is something that you have for your entire life once you've developed it, okay? And your ability to recognize this stuff, whether it's played statically. I have a note that's down here on the far end of the piano. I didn't realize that. You hear bum, you hear bum, you hear da, 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 da. That's a sus2 chord. You don't have to know that it's F sus2. You just have to be able to recognize, once you have that, da, 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 na, na. Okay, so because I can hear that, because I can sing the notes before I play them, that means that I'm recognizing what these intervals are instantly. I don't need anything but that first reference pitch, and I'm referring all these notes to the first pitch. Doesn't matter whether I'm going up or going down. This is how you actually develop your ear, and you develop what we call relative pitch. And relative pitch is the gold standard of understanding music by ear, okay? Whether you're Billy Strings or you're Hans Zimmer or you're whoever it is here, being able to recognize this stuff. Mark Tremonti, when he's in here, all the people that I've had in here, all these pros, they can recognize these things. They know they can recognize these intervals. Why? Because they're writing music all the time, because they can hear these things. When they're playing leads, when Kirk Hammett is playing a lead, when James Hetfield is playing rhythm, he recognizes what they are. He recognizes the interval combinations, what they are, right? So he can hear them. So when he's playing a riff, he knows where he's going and where he wants to go. So he can be away from his instrument, and he can actually sing something and be like, oh, I know what that is, and then go to his instrument and play it. And that's ultimately what you want to be able to do. And you want to be able to sing along and play your solos before you're improvising. Your ear should go a split second before, hear the note, and then you know where it is when you're playing, because you knew where the note was before it, okay? So these are the things that we are that we are talking about today, that we are training our ear for, that we are learning. You're learning the formulas of these triads, and then you learn the formulas of seventh chords, which we're not going to do today. We're not going to talk about seventh chords. But seventh chords are just adding another third on the top, right? A C major 7. So it adds 1, 3, 5, and then a 7 on the top, the seventh note of scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a C major 7 chord. Bum, bum. So I can sing those notes. Ba, 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 ba. 1, 3, 5, major 7. 1, 3, 5, flat 7. 1, 3, 5, 6. 1, 3, 5, flat 6. Once again, I'm just building on the things that I've already heard here, right? So when I'm trying to figure out anything, I get my reference pitch, and then boom, I go. Get my reference pitch, and then once I have my reference pitch, I know what all the other notes are without perfect pitch, right? This is relative pitch, and this is the thing that you want to develop. Now, relative pitch doesn't mean anything if you don't know what these interval names are and stuff. In my Beato book, I start with basic intervals. And here they are. I'm writing them out. So minor second, major second, minor third, major third, perfect fourth, augmented fourth or diminished fifth, perfect fifth, minor sixth, major sixth, minor seventh, major seventh. Those are the intervals in music. Then the octave or the perfect eighth is the octave. Then they start to repeat again. Okay. Once you learn to recognize each of these intervals that are in the chromatic scale, you can figure out anything. All right, so that's it. All this stuff is in this the bundle that I have today, which is the Music Theory and Ear Training Master Collection. It's my 3 courses for $79. Come on, that's a pretty good deal. What is that, like $25 a course? It's $26 a course. That's pretty cheap. That's too cheap. I'm kidding. You guys are awesome. Music Theory for Songwriters, my Beato Book Interactive. Music Theory for Songwriters is exactly what that is. It expires on Friday, the 28th, so you got 5 days, but I would get it today so you can get to work on it whether you have the rest of the day off and you can start thinking about this. This is a great beginning of your practice time was today. This is our refresher course if you know some of this stuff, and then you can pick up this bundle and start working from there. And then my Beato Ear Training program. It's all for today. You guys are amazing. If you didn't get a chance to see my interview with Adam Duritz, definitely check it out. Hit subscribe here and Rick Beato too. We're trying to get to 5 million subscribers here, which we're, I think, about 6 weeks away from. And I'm trying to get to 1 million on Rick Beato too. I'm at about 860,000, 870,000. So I could, if you guys start clicking subscribe on both these channels, if you're not subscribed, they can really help me get me over the hump here to 5 million and 1 million. Oh, that would be awesome. All right, you guys are the best. We'll see you. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.